Hi everyone, welcome back to Code Snippets. And in this lecture, we'll learn about some more methods of string. We'll learn about slice method, substring method, lowercase, uppercase, and the split method also. And then we'll actually solve some exercises also. So without wasting any further time, let's go dive in the lecture. So the first method that we will learn is the slice method in the string. So what is the slice operator in a string? So what it does is basically it extracts a part of the string of the given string and then returns it in a new string. So it doesn't change anything in the string. एक गिवन स्ट्रिंग में अगर मैं स्लाइस ऑपरेटर को यूज करूंगा तो वो उस स्ट्रिंग से एक पार्ट को स्लाइस करेगा जितना मैंने मांगा है एंड उसको एक नए स्ट्रिंग में रिटर्न करके देगा। मतलब कि मान लो मैं कहता हूँ कि लेट स्ट्रिंग इक्वल्स टू मेरे पास कुछ है हेलो वर्ल्ड ऐसा कुछ स्ट्रिंग है मेरे पास एंड if I use a slice operator on this, so if you see the slice operator takes two arguments, start argument and end argument. So it takes the arguments as from where do you want to be sliced till where you want to slice. Okay, so if you pass the start and the end argument, then from that given string it will slice that part and return it in the new string. So suppose if I say I want to slice from 2 to 4, what it will give is it will return this in a new string basically. So if I say something const slice string, and if I print this string slice string, so it will basically return this in the new string 2 to 4. So basically indexing in string we learned that it starts from 0, so I'm asking from index 2. So in index 2 you can see 0 1 2, and then in index 4 it is O. So basically it includes the start index, it includes the start index, and it excludes the end index. Okay, this is important. ये जो हम जो starting index पास कर रही है इसको ये include करता है, मतलब it is returning from the position 2 which is L, and it does not include 4, it just returns just before the index of 4. That means it will return till 3. So at the third index it's also L, so it is returning LL. This is not 11, this is L. Okay, let's take something different just for the sake of understanding. So if you see it's returning LP. So L is at index 2, P is at index 3, O is at index 4. So I pass the end index as 4, so it is returning till index 3. Okay, so and it is returning in a new string. It is not changing uh, the given string. As you have learned previous, that strings in JavaScript are basically immutable, right? So if you see, the string remains same, it does not change the string. Okay, it returns this in a separate new string, and it takes two parameters, start and end. Okay, so both of these parameters are optional, matlab we can pass this parameter or we may not pass this parameter. So if we do not pass this parameter, then basically it will return the entire string, because I'm asking for the entire string. I'm passing no start index or end index. So if I don't pass any argument in the slice, then it will return the entire string. And if I don't pass the end, if I pass only one parameter, so if you see, slice is taking two parameters, one is start and one is end. So if I don't pass the end index, then it will take the end index as the end of the string, like जहाँ तक string है वहाँ तक. So it will basically slice me a string that starts from the second index till the end. So if I run this code now, so it starts from the second index and then it returns me till the end of the string. Okay, it returns me to the end of the string. So this is how the slice operators work. So basically the slice operator takes a start index and the end index, both of which are optional, and then it extracts a part of the string and returns it in a new string. And if we don't pass any arguments in the slice operator, then the entire string will be returned. And if we pass only one operator, then basically the slice will return a new string from that start index till the end of the string. Okay, so I hope you understood the slice operator. Let's now see the next operator on the next method in string, that is a substring method. Okay, so substring method does something very similar to slice, only it also, substrings are basically parts of strings. Okay, so substring methods also will uh, return me a part of string in a new string. So for example, if I do the same thing as cons, suppose con substring as string dot substring, and if you see, this also takes two parameters, start and end. But the first difference you can see is that in substring this start is not optional. You have to pass a starting index. If you see in slice, this start is optional. Basically there's a question mark colon. That question mark colon means that this operator, this parameter is optional, you may or may not pass. But in substring, if you see, this start is required, you need to pass a starting index. This end is optional. Okay, so that's the first difference between slice and substring. Okay, so suppose, and the indexing is same. So if I pass a starting index and the ending index, it will include the starting index, but it will not include the ending index. So if I try to log this, and this will also basically return this in a new string, it will not change the original string, it will not change this str, it will return its result in a new string. Okay, so if I run this, if you see, it returns el. So I am basically asked it from 1, so starting index I am asking is 1. So if you see, h is 0, e is 1, and then I wanted till 3, so it will not count 3, it will count till 2. So at 2 there is l, right? So it returned me el. Okay, and in the same time it doesn't changes the value of the string, the value of the string remains unaltered because it's immutable. Okay, it returns it in a new string. So if you see, the value of the string remains same. Okay, and if I, in the same way, if I don't pass the ending index, then what happens, then what basically happens is, it's returns the substring starting from this start index till the end of the string. So it's basically working in the same way, it basically is working in the same way as a slice method is working. but but there are some differences between the slice method and the substring method. So let's see the difference between the slice and the substring method. देखो, एक तो difference ये है कि अगर मैं मेरा जो स्टार्ट इंडेक्स, जो पहला पैरामीटर होता है वो क्या होता है, स्टार्ट पैरामीटर होता है। जो दूसरा पैरामीटर होता है दैट इज एन एंड पैरामीटर, राइट। तो पहला डिफरेंस ये है कि अगर मेरा स्टार्ट पैरामीटर मैं अपने एंड पैरामीटर से ज़्यादा पास करता हूँ, so if I pass my start index as greater than end index, what slice will do, it will return an empty string. What substring will do, it will basically swap. Okay, what substring will do is basically it will swap. So suppose for example, if I do something as substring of uh, यहाँ पे मैंने 3 लिया है एंड यहाँ पे मैंने 1 लिया है, एंड मैं मान लो स्लाइस के साथ भी सेम करता हूँ, 3, 1 लिया है, ठीक है। अब दोनों को प्रिंट करेंगे, ठीक है। कंसोल डॉट लॉग स्लाइस स्ट्रिंग भी ले लेते हैं, एंड लेट्स ऑल्सो टेक समथिंग एज substring is space plus and slice string is space plus. Okay, तो इन दोनों में क्या होगा ना, व्हाट स्लाइस विल डू, स्लाइस में हम क्या किए, स्टार्ट को एंड से ज्यादा पास किए, एंड सबस्ट्रिंग में भी हमने स्टार्ट को एंड से ज्यादा पास किए। सो व्हाट बेसिकली सबस्ट्रिंग विल डू, सबस्ट्रिंग विल बेसिकली चेंज दिस टू दिस, it will swap, but slice will not swap. So slice will basically give an empty string, and substring will basically give a substring from the first index to third index. So if I run this for uh, so if I run this, I will see that substring में I got EL, मुझे EL मिला। तो देखते हैं, E is 1, L is 2, right? And slice string में मुझे empty मिला। Okay, this is the first difference. Second difference in substring is कि अगर मेरा substring में मैं कोई भी पैरामीटर को नेगेटिव पास करता हूँ, if I pass any parameter as negative, so अगर मैंने 3 के जगह 1 के जगह इसको -1 करा होता, so it will treat this as 0. So basically what this will become is 3, 0. So it will treat this as 0, and again 3, 0 मतलब क्या हो गया, start greater than end हो गया, so इसको swap करके 0, 3 बना देगा substring, right? So if we run this, you will see that substring from 0 to 3, 0 to 3 मतलब क्या क्या रिटर्न करेगा, 0, 1, 2, HEL, right? This is what will return. बट अगर मैं सब स्लाइस में नेगेटिव इंटीजर पास करता हूँ, इफ आई पास अ नेगेटिव इंटीजर इन स्लाइस, सो बेसिकली व्हाट इट डज इज, ये स्टॉप इंडेक्स का वैल्यू को क्या करता है, इसका जो ये स्टॉप इंडेक्स हो गया, this actually changes to string dot length minus math dot absolute value of the past index. ठीक है, तो मेरा यहाँ पे स्ट्रिंग का लेंथ क्या है? इफ यू काउंट दिस स्ट्रिंग द लेंथ विल कम एज 13, राइट? सो मेरा इंडेक्स क्या बन जाएगा? 13 minus 1, that is 12. This will be my index. 13 minus 1, 12. This will be my index. So basically, if I pass something like this actually changes to slice of 3 comma 12. And slice of 3 comma 12 क्या देगा? You can count the indexes basically. You can count the indexes. So the slide substring will be po world, like just before the last character. This exclamation mark is the 12th index. You can count basically 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, and you will see that this D is the 11th index. So it basically gives from 3 to 11 because it does not include this 12, right? So agar so another difference is what ki if I am passing a negative index, what's happening? Slice is changing that value to string dot length minus the absolute value of this negative value, and what substring is doing is basically it is changing this to 0. So substring में अगर मैं 1 के जगह यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा string पास करता हूँ ना which is not a number, then also it will change it to 0. Then also this will change it to 0. Okay, इसको 0 में बदल दिया. So if in substring method we are passing minus any negative values और ऐसा कुछ पास करता हूँ जो nan है basically not a number है, तो उसको हम treat करेंगे as a 0. ओके, एंड स्लाइस में हमने ये जो इंडेक्स देखा, हम नेगेटिव इंडेक्स, ये हम स्टॉप में पास कर रहे हैं. अगर हम स्टॉप में कोई नेगेटिव वैल्यू पास कर रहे हैं मतलब एंड इंडेक्स में, तो इट डज समथिंग लाइक दैट. अगर मैं स्टॉप का जगह स्टार्ट में नेगेटिव इंडेक्स पास करता हूँ तो ये क्या करता है? ये सब स्ट्रिंग की तरह करता है. इट सेट्स कैरेक्टर फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग. मतलब कि इफ आई इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस इफ आई डू -3 एंड इसको मैं 1 कर देता हूँ, इसको मैं 1 कर देता हूँ, सो इट विल बिहेव समथिंग लाइक द सबस्ट्रिंग मेथड. सो इफ यू सी सो -3 मतलब क्या हो गया? देखो मुझे 1, सो बेसिकली दिस एक्चुअली चेंजेस इट टू पॉजिटिव वैल्यू. ओके, अगर मैं यहाँ पे -1 करता हूँ, ठीक है, इफ आई डू यार -1, सो सी इट्स रिटर्निंग में एम्प्टी स्ट्रिंग. तो ये जो इंडेक्सिंग का लॉजिक लगता है, दिस इज बेसिकली एप्लीकेबल ओनली इफ आई पास the end index as a negative value in the slice method, not the start index. See, if I pass a negative value in the start index of the slice method, then it sets the character from the end of the string like substring. ठीक है, सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन सबस्ट्रिंग एंड स्लाइस मेथड. दोनों ही सेम काम करता है. दे बोथ एक्सट्रैक्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग एंड देन रिटर्न्स इट इनटू अ न्यू स्ट्रिंग, बट इन some cases they act a little different. Okay, now let's see the next method. The next method is basically we'll learn about is two lowercase and two uppercase. So sometimes क्या होता है ना कि देखो, from the name only you can infer what the two methods does. Two lowercase is basically change the entire string to lowercase. Two uppercase will basically change the entire string to uppercases. And these are actually very important actually when you do some comparisons. तो suppose मेरे पास एक form है, okay, I have a form and मैं फॉर्म में कुछ वैलिडेशंस लिख रहा हूँ. आई एम राइटिंग सम वैलिडेशंस फ्रॉम द फॉर्म, जिसमें मैं नेम का लेंथ चेक करता हूँ, कुछ नेम, आई हैव सम parameters, I have some rules that the name must follow, that the username must follow, or a user is passing some input and मैं उस input field पे basically validation लगा रहा हूँ, and I have some parameters for which I need to check the input. Now the user is not going to bother about the case. Okay, user उस input form में सब कुछ caps में डाल सकता है. The user can pass everything in small. Okay, the user can pass in mixed. My validation needs to be equal for whatever cases, for whatever case the user pass from the form. ठीक है ना? तो when I'm doing this kind of comparisons, then I can change the entire user input to a lowercase or an uppercase, and then basically I can do my validations. Okay, so इसमें क्या होगा ना, तो इसमें I have one single case in which I am doing some validations. ठीक है, so ये two lower case two upper case actually string comparisons के time पे, ये सब time पे बहुत use होता है. Okay, so what it basically does, it's basically very simple. Let me comment out all this thing. Let me comment out all this thing. I'll keep the string though. So if I do something as log of string dot to lowercase, we call this as this to lowercase. It takes no parameters actually, it just is a method string dot to lowercase. So what it will basically do, it will change everything into lowercase. And similarly, if I do something called a string dot to uppercase, it will basically change everything into uppercase. Okay, so there are two methods. I can do to lowercase and I can do to uppercase. So the to lowercase changes everything into lowercase and the uppercase actually changes everything into the uppercase. Okay, so this is very simple. इतना ही था, to lowercase to uppercase. ये बस हम लोग जब comparisons करते हैं we can use. So suppose I actually want मेरे पास दो string है, string one as abc and let string 2 as abc. ठीक है, अब मैं यूजर नेम these are suppose यूजर नेम्स, तो यूजर कभी कभी अपना नाम को abc डाल रहा है, कभी कभी अपना नाम को इन कैप्स डाल रहा है. एंड व्हेन आई एम चेकिंग दिस, okay, when I'm checking, suppose in my database I have stored this as abc. So basically if I do a comparison and this abc and the user is basically doing something as this, then the comparison will fail. So उस टाइम पे मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, I can do something as so if I basically do log of string 1 triple equals to string 2, this will basically give me false. This will basically give me false, right? This will basically give me false. But this will, according to my use case, this should be true. So what can I do? I can change both of these strings to a singular case. So I can do a string 1 dot 2 lowercase. I can do a string 2 dot 2 lowercase. Okay, so if I do something like this, then I will get true. I can change this to uppercase also, to uppercase. So in this kind of comparisons, these are very important. Now let's look at one more method, which is basically the split method. And what the split method takes is basically, the split method takes two parameters. One is a separator and one is a limit. So what split basically does is ये एक string लेगा, ठीक है, और आप उस string को एरेज में स्प्लिट कर सकते हो, एक एरे ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स, एक एरे ऑफ वर्ड्स में स्प्लिट कर सकते हो बेस्ड ऑन आपने जो कैरेक्टर पास करा है और बेस्ड ऑन आप जो चाहते हो कि इसके हिसाब से स्ट्रिंग को स्प्लिट कर दे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मेरे पास एक स्ट्रिंग है, लेट सेंटेंस एज हाई हाउ आर यू. Okay, hi, how are you? And I want all the words that are used in this sentence. So अगर मैं किसी सेंटेंस में क्या क्या वर्ड्स है ये मांगता हूँ, so basically how do you count the words? You count them based on spaces, right? कि hi के बाद hi is a word, how is a word, are is a word, you is a word, right? Because there are spaces in between. So I'm basically splitting to count the words, to find out the words. I'm splitting this string. I'm splitting it from where? Based on the spaces, ki where the spaces are. So my separator becomes the space, right? So if I pass something as sentence dot split, and split basically takes, if you see, it takes a splitter, okay, and then it takes a limit. Okay, there are two operators, one is a splitter, one is a limit. Okay, and splitter can be anything. Okay, so if I pass string and I'm not passing limit is optional. If I do this, and this will actually return me an array. So if I do const array of words, ये मुझे क्या रिटर्न करेगा. and अगर मैं इस array को लॉक करूँ, let's comment this out. अगर मैं इस array को लॉक करूँ, so if you see, it gives me, so there is a space इसके पहले भी, that's why it gave this. If I omit this space, it will go away. So if you see, it gave me hi, how are you, and then the question mark also. Okay, if I give a space between this question mark, normally we give a space between the question mark, English punctuations. So it see, if it will give you all the words and punctuation marks that you have used in the string. Okay, so split method splits a string based on your preferences. Okay, यहाँ पे मैंने space के ऊपर split करा. अगर मैं बिना space के ऊपर like if I don't pass any space, that means I get all the characters in this string. So if you see, it will give me all the characters, individual characters, H, I, space, H, O, W. Okay. Similarly, if there are and signs, I am giving hi and then and then there is one more and here, and there is one more and here. Okay, and if I say ki split based on and, okay, split wherever and is present. Okay, so what it basically do is it will see hi and then there was and, so it gave hi. Then ho and w के बीच में and है, so इसने ho दिया है. And के बाद क्या है, w space are, so इसने दिया w space are. Okay, so जहां जहां आप, so like wherever, so this is the separator we are mentioning. तो जहां जहां इसको ये सेपरेटर मिलेगा इन द स्ट्रिंग, वो उस जगह से स्ट्रिंग को तोड़ देगा. ठीक है. There is one more operator, there is one more parameter that you can pass in this, and that is a limit basically means कि till where do you want the result, टिल वायर, टिल हाउ मेनी, कितना चाहिए आपको, कितना तक तोड़ना है आपको. ठीक है. सो जब मैं लिमिट पास कर रहा हूँ, इट विल नॉट ब्रेक द एंटायर स्ट्रिंग, इट विल ब्रेक टिल द प्लेस वेयर यू हैव पास्ड. सो इफ आई से सपोज आई से लिमिट इज 2, सो इट विल फर्स्ट ब्रेक at this first, इसको पहला स्पेस मिला, it got the first space, it broke it to hi and how are you, then it gets the next space, so now it is broken hi and how. Now you have passed the limit to 2, so it will stop, it will not split anymore. So if I run this, I will just get two output, hi and how, that's it. So if you want to limit your split, you can pass a limit. If you want to split the entire string, आपको limit pass करने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप limit नहीं pass करोगे, so it will by default take the limit to the end of the string. Okay, so these are some of the very used methods of strings in JavaScript. There are lots of other methods also. Okay, and I will give you a reference link so that you can look at all the string methods. You can take a look at them, you can practice them. And हम जब string manipulation करेंगे, we'll actually use these methods a lot to do these string manipulations. In the next lecture we'll actually solve some problems from strings, ताकि हम जितना सारा methods हमने करे, caret, split, to lowercase, slice, we will use these methods in actual problems to understand that how this works. And that's it for this lesson. I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.